Imagine your most sensitive information, your most critical conversations, all in the hands of someone else, far away, in a place you might never have been. This nightmare became a reality for Microsoft in 2024. The tech giant, known for its robust security, found itself breached by a state-backed Russian hacking group, Midnight Blizzard, also known as APT-29 or Nobelium.
Tech giant Microsoft saying it was hacked by a Russian state-backed cyber group.
We've been alerting to this for the last 2 weeks, and we need the systems updated. Your organization is not patched by now. You should seriously consider whether your organization should be running its own information technology.
This week is dealing with an ongoing hack coming from Russia.
These hackers weren't just amateurs. They were the same group responsible for the infamous SolarWinds breach. But this time, their focus was on something even bigger, Microsoft. Their mission was espionage, and their targets were government agencies, NGOs, IT firms, and Microsoft itself. It all started in late 2023 when Microsoft noticed something strange happening within its Exchange Online accounts. Midnight Blizzard had begun their attack with a method called password spraying. This technique involves trying to hack into an account using a few common passwords until one works. They targeted a legacy, non-production test account that had no multi-factor authentication enabled. This oversight allowed them to break into the system, but this wasn't just a typical password hack. Midnight Blizzard knew what they were doing. Once they gained access, they moved quickly, using this access to create OAuth applications with elevated permissions, effectively building backdoors into Microsoft's systems. These backdoors granted them access to sensitive emails from some of Microsoft's most crucial teams, including cybersecurity, legal, and executive departments. At this point, it's important to understand how sophisticated and well-planned these attacks were. Midnight Blizzard is not your average hacking group. They are highly trained, well-funded, and part of Russia's state intelligence apparatus. Specifically, they operate under the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service. This connection to state intelligence means they aren't just looking to make a quick profit. Their goal is to collect valuable information that can serve Russian foreign policy. In this case, their focus was on espionage, and their targets included not only Microsoft, but also other high-profile organizations, including government agencies and NGOs. One of the methods they used to stay under the radar was residential proxies. These proxies allowed the hackers to route their traffic through the IP addresses of ordinary home users, making it appear as if their activity was coming from legitimate sources. This technique made it extremely difficult for Microsoft's security systems to detect the attack, as the traffic appeared to be coming from regular internet users rather than from a single suspicious source. Residential proxies are becoming an increasingly popular tool for hackers, as they allow them to blend in with normal internet traffic and avoid detection by traditional security measures. But residential proxies were just one part of the puzzle. Midnight Blizzard also exploited vulnerabilities in Microsoft's OAuth system, which is used to manage user permissions across various applications. By creating OAuth applications with elevated permissions, the hackers were able to access sensitive data without raising any red flags. This is a classic example of how hackers exploit the interconnected nature of modern technology. A vulnerability in one system can lead to a breach in another, creating a chain reaction that can be difficult to stop once it is started. The consequences of this breach for Microsoft were severe. Not only did it compromise the company's internal communications, but it also raised serious questions about the security of their products and services. If a company as large and as well-resourced as Microsoft could fall victim to such an attack, what does that mean for smaller organizations that lack the same level of protection? This is a question that many companies were forced to confront in the wake of the breach, as they scrambled to reassess their own security measures. In response to the attack, Microsoft took several steps to improve their security protocols. One of the most significant changes was the implementation of mandatory multi-factor authentication across all accounts. This added an extra layer of security by requiring users to verify their identity using a second form of authentication, such as a text message or an authentication app. This made it much more difficult for hackers to gain access to accounts, even if they managed to obtain a user's password. Another important change was the strengthening of Microsoft's monitoring systems. The company introduced new tools to detect unusual activity earlier in the attack chain, allowing them to respond more quickly to potential threats. This was a crucial step in preventing future breaches, as it gave Microsoft the ability to identify and mitigate attacks before they could cause significant damage. But Microsoft didn't stop there. They also began working more closely with U.S. government agencies, sharing intelligence on cyber threats and collaborating on efforts to improve cybersecurity across the board. This partnership was a recognition of the fact that no single organization, no matter how large or powerful, can protect itself from cyber attacks alone. It requires a collective effort, with companies, governments, and individuals all working together to strengthen the defenses of our digital infrastructure. While these measures have undoubtedly made Microsoft more secure, the company is not out of the woods yet. Cybersecurity is a constantly evolving field, and hackers are always looking for new ways to exploit vulnerabilities. As long as state-sponsored hacking groups like Midnight Blizzard exist, the threat of another attack will always be present. This is the new reality of the digital age, where the lines between war and peace are increasingly blurred, and the battlefield is no longer confined to physical space. The 2024 attack on Microsoft was a wake-up call for the entire tech industry. It exposed the vulnerabilities in even the most secure systems and highlighted the growing threat posed by state-sponsored cyber attacks. But perhaps most importantly, it served as a reminder that cybersecurity is not just about protecting data. It's about protecting the very fabric of our digital society. The actions of hackers like Midnight Blizzard can have far-reaching consequences, affecting everything from government operations to the personal information of millions of people. This is why it is so important for companies and governments to stay vigilant and continue to invest in cybersecurity. The stakes are too high to ignore. As technology continues to evolve, so too will the methods used by hackers. And while it may be impossible to completely eliminate the threat of cyber attacks, it is possible to make them more difficult and less damaging. This requires a proactive approach, with organizations constantly updating their security protocols and staying informed about the latest threats. As the dust settles on the 2024 cyber attack, many questions remain.